What's going on, guys? We are back for another RLCS predictions. Week number 4, we're starting to see the playoff picture take place. I'm recording this on Monday, so directly after week 3. So in case I missed anything throughout the week, you know why. This will be going out on Friday, so keep that in mind. But first, let's go over what happened last time. And also, make sure to check out my articles on rlesports.gg. I predicted a match of the day for North America and a match of the day for Europe, and I got both of them right. Maybe not exactly right, but I got both of them right. So we'll go over that as we continue through here. But let's go into the schedule. Let's go into this past week, and let's go over it. C9 versus Rogue. I just think Cloud9 is way too good, and I think this showed it. For some reason, people were still like hyping up Rogue a little bit. And I didn't see it last week. I thought they actually played pretty rough during week 2. So I didn't think that Cloud9 would have any problem with them. And it turns out I was right. Rogue, there's definitely a gap right now in North America between, it's probably top 3. Then you're not exactly sure where to put Evil Geniuses yet. I still want to see them play against Energy and Cloud9. And G2's in that group too. Probably G2 and EG right around the same spot. And Energy and Cloud9 seem to be providing a little bit of a gap here. But Rogue is below that, I believe. We'll have to see when they play EG. I think they play, do they play him this week? Yes, they do. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. But Rogue just wasn't pretty, like, I normally try not to, like, bash throughout a series, but honestly, that series, Sizz had multiple extremely weak shots. It seemed like that was cleaned up a bit when they played Energy, but, oh man, Rogue could have made this a series. They had good passing, but Sizz's shots were abysmal. Like, some of them were just, like, really, really rough. So, I expect that to change. It was probably just a one-off, but it was pretty bad, and that's why Cloud9 is easily going to 3-0 this. Rogue, though, I was impressed with their passing ability, so we'll see if they can bounce back going forward. But we got that one right. Next up, Ghost versus Out of Style. I called a 5-game series. It went to 4. Ghost gets the much-needed win to stay alive in the playoffs, but Out of Style, their defense is just poo right now. They need to clean up their defense. If they clean up their defense and then, like, don't try and force goals so often, I think they'd be okay. But Ghost looked decent in the series. Like, I thought both these teams looked okay. Compared to last week when North America, I was like, whew, North America's looking rough across the board. And that was, like, near the bottom was, like, really rough, which was, like, Rogue and CLG. This week with Ghost and Out of Style, they both played pretty decent, so I wasn't as worried about North America as a whole versus Europe, but they both played pretty well. Probably both these teams won't even make it to the LAN, but still, just as like a 8 in Europe and 8 in North America, they looked much better this week, so that was a good thing to see. But Ghost comes out with the win there, pretty close, 3-2. Next up, we got Energy versus Rogue. I predicted this one correct, a 3-1, and Energy basically dominated the series. It wasn't that big of a deal. Rogue did find some plays, obviously, like they got a win, but this one I felt like was a shoo-in as well. It's just Energy is just looking too good right now. I think this was a series where they gave up a decent amount of goals, or compared to what they normally do, but I can't remember off the top of my head. For some reason, this series is like a blank in my head for right now. We'll have to go back and watch it, but Energy comes out with the victory, 3-1. So we got that one right. Next up, we have G2 versus Ghost. I thought Ghost might be able to take a game, but this was an absolute slaughter fest. It looked like G2 was on point with all their passes, not trying to be too cute. They had a few. I think this was a series where JNaps could have easily shot a ball in instead he throws it out when he was right next to the goal line. But it still worked out for them, and Ghost was just flat-footed. They were just like, everyone run back to the goal line, but it's like you can't do that against G2 because they'll just pass on you like crazy and set up the perfect shot. So a mixture of Ghost, but mostly G2 playing extremely well. And Ghost kind of showing that they still don't belong in the World Championship picture with this loss. It was just an absolute slaughter. So we got pretty close there, 3-0 compared to a 3-1. Next up, we have Cloud9 versus Out of Style. And I thought Cloud9 would go 6-0, and they did just that. This was just a domination. I thought they would score 15 goals. They scored 12. Honestly, it wasn't really close. But there's not much really to say here. Cloud9 is just way better than them. It's pretty simple. We're just seeing that gap from the top of North America to the bottom. And I actually love when we see this, like, in a way, because it shows that, like, there is actually a skill gap. There's some teams that are just so much better. And I think, excuse me, I got some burps right now. it just like shows that there are some teams in North America that are up to world championship status compared to others, and I kind of like that. And then we could get some fluke upsets, but so far we haven't really got a ton this season. The only one was really Ghost falling apart, but besides that, everything else has been relatively predictable in both regions. Then we got Energy versus G2. Energy just came out on fire. Just pass interception after pass interception, and Garrett just going ham. And honestly, it's so funny because Garrett always talks on Twitter. He's like, I'm not playing that well. And I think Justin's going to be our man, but Garrett, he showed up big here. Huge series from him and a huge 3-0. It's the first 3-0 that Energy has, and it's against G2. So if it comes down to tiebreakers later, first tiebreaker is win percentage, and G2's looking a little bit rough for that right now. They also only had a 3-2 win over EG. They did get a 3-0 over Ghost. So that helps them a little bit. But Energy, just a dominating performance here. And honestly, it shows like G2 again, I don't want to say the word, but they looked really dominant against Ghost, and then they kind of fell apart against Energy. I'm not going to say it. Not going to say the word, but they got to clean it up soon. Because again, let's not forget that this team is 0-3 in the regional championships. They have never won a game in the regional championships. So, like, if it comes down to it and they have to win a game, who knows? So far, it hasn't worked out for them. But Energy, we were right on this one. I predicted a 3-1. I don't think anyone could have predicted a 3-0, but Energy comes out on top, so the G2 fanboys can stop hating on me because I predicted it right, okay? Next up, we go to Europe. Complexity over Fnatic, 3-1 I called, and it was a 3-0. Fnatic just, whew, they look rough. They look rough right now. That series, it was just, they didn't even try. They weren't even trying to score. They were just like trying to hold on for dear life. And then a couple times when they had an opportunity, they would just get way too cute. The one play that really annoyed me, I think it was game 1 overtime, Snasky has a perfect chance to drill it off the backboard or possibly a decent shot. And he just does the softest pass to Sicky that's like not in a spot where he can shoot at all. And I'm like, you can't be doing that. Just take the shot. Be confident. Once in a while, it's good to shoot. And it just really cost Fnatic there. They just weren't looking great. They were at least holding up on the defensive side for the most part, but then Complexity would come out like Magnus with the great waterfall touch to secure the victory there. But a 3-0, not going to help Fnatic's chances. And for Europe, it was all about these 4 teams in these first 2 matches. Who is going to kind of elevate their play and have a conversation about top 2, and then who is going to drop down and be in the conversation for the bottom 2. So Fnatic not starting off well there. So we got that one right. Then we got Envy versus Flipside. We got this one exactly right. I feel like Envy was the better team. They came out, they were controlling the ball for the most part in both of their series, really. They could have won both. They just couldn't secure it. Like, they probably should have beat Complexity. Maybe, I don't know. It all depends. But Envy was playing relatively good defense. They almost gave it up, though, with Diva with the own goal in game number 3? I think it was game 3 or game 4 in overtime. I can't remember off the top of my head. But they were playing really good ball, and Flipside was making a lot of defensive mistakes, a ton of them, once again. And it cost them in the end, 3-2. Envy gets the win. So, got that one right. Doing pretty good today. Galeforce 3-0 over Excel. Got that one right. I predicted 15 goals, though. I think they only scored 9. So, Excel figured out defense a little bit in games 2 and 3, which is something good to see, because it was, they had the defense figured out in games 1 and 2 normally, and then they would fall apart. So, just got to put both of them together, and maybe they'll have a chance, but it doesn't seem like they have enough offensive firepower if they don't send everyone up. So, I don't expect much from them for the rest of the season. They have 2 games left, I believe, in this next week. So, we'll see if they can make a run here. But, next up, Flipside over Fnatic. So, this one, I am going to blame Axeltoss for. So, on here, I predicted 3-2 Fnatic. But this one was very reliant on what I saw earlier. And I was going to change. I was going to change my pick, because we're allowed to change picks now. But Axeltoss was all mad, because when we did the G2 Energy series, Carpet switched from G2 to Energy. So, then I look like... No, he switched from Energy to G2, so I look like the guy that was like, oh, I'm all by myself, I'm picking Energy, everyone else is picking against me. And that was supposed to be Axel, because he was predicting G2, so he was all mad about that. Fake mad, I think. But he was like, you cannot switch, because I'm the only one who chose Flipside, and everyone else chose Fnatic, and I was going to switch it, but I was like, fine, Axeltoss, you can have it. But Fnatic just didn't look good. Just simple as that. They look like... they should belong back in the rival series almost after those games. It was rough. Really rough. I'm surprised how poorly they've been playing this season. Like, I expected them to put up a fight. I still had them as the 7th team, but the flip side we've seen has not been great. So I thought they could beat them here at the start of the week, and then I was like, probably Flipside, but, you know, whatever. So we got this one wrong, but Flipside coming out, dominating performance. They actually look pretty good in this series, but again, it's against Fnatic, who's not really trying that hard on the offensive side. So, I don't know. We'll see. But, so Flipside comes out, huge win for them, keeps them probably in top 6 now. They only have Galeforce and Vitality left, so most likely in 0-2, so they will finish with 2 wins on the season. So, they needed this win, because if they didn't win here, they were probably out of it. Next up, we have Complexity over Envy, and this was my wild pick on here, and then I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it on the show. I wanted to, but I couldn't do it on the show. I was like, nah, Complexity is going to win this. I don't think Envy can do it. So here I chose Envy, but on the show I chose Complexity. I think I chose him at 5 as well, because I was like, I really want to pick Envy, but it was close. But Complexity comes out with the victory. Very close here. Envy, honestly, probably played slightly better, except for finishing the goals. Or Complexity just made some top 5 highlight plays over and over and over again to score their goals. They really needed them to beat Envy, but I think Complexity has to figure out some better passing plays where they don't have to go absolutely insane to score goals going forward in the future, because I don't think that's going to work against the better teams. But it worked against Envy just barely. But Envy is still looking at, they only have 1 win, so that really helped out Fnatic and Excel. But I expect Envy to come out pretty strong going into next week. Next up, we have Galeforce versus PSG. I had a 3-0 here. PSG played pretty well. I'm not going to lie. PSG played better than they've played all season. It was... So I felt like Bluey was way more grounded throughout this entire series. It allowed them to rotate more. And they competed with Galeforce in 2 of the 4 games. Problem is, they lost one of those games, so then it turns into a 3-1. Galeforce just a little bit too strong. K-Dop a little bit too strong. I still haven't felt like Galeforce has been tested in 3 games. This was the closest test they've had, but they're looking extremely strong. And I think people are saying, like, oh, why is everyone, like, hyping up Galeforce? One, that they're the world champions, but they just looked better than those other 4 teams playing today. With these games here, like, these 4 teams, like, Galeforce looks better than them easily. So, we'll see going forward. Like, I think Complexity could give them a run for their money, because they have before. Multiple times. They went to 7 games in the regional championships. They went to 7 games of the world championships before the 4-0 sweep. And then they beat them in 5 games in the regular season last season. So it's possible, but I feel like Galeforce will come out, probably get the 7-0 in the season. But there you have it. We were pretty good on predictions here. Again, it was pretty predictable, so I'm not going to take too much credit for this, but there you go. So that's the predictions for week number 3. Let's go over to week number 4. We're getting into playoff territory, and now we got to erase everything and do predictions once again. First off, CLG versus Out of Style. A must win for both of these teams. And I think this one's hard to call, because CLG is the worst offense, Out of Style is the worst defense, and both are by far. So which one's going to crack? That's what I'm wondering. The pros keep hyping up CLG. They keep saying that CLG is a great team. In scrims, they play really well. I just can't believe it until I see it. And I think Out of Style has shown more. And from what we've seen, I think Out of Style is the better team. I could be completely wrong here, like on this pick, because again, the pros have just been hyping up CLG. But we haven't seen it. We haven't seen offense from CLG at all this entire season. But I'm going to give this to Out of Style 3-1. Just because I've seen more from them. It's been inconsistent, but I have at least seen some sparks. Well, CLG, I haven't really seen anything from like this, like at all. So we'll see what's going forward. I hope CLG shows up, because I want, you know, some competition down in those bottom ranks. But I just can't believe it until I see it. So I am going with Out of Style. But that's a huge game. Now, another huge game. So this is Evil Genius's chance to stay alive for top 2. And this is Cloud9's statement game to put them into top 2 without any question, except for the G2 match possibly later. But this is that first step. This is the first step for Cloud9 to get top 2. And this is the last step for EG to have a chance at top 2. I think Cloud9 is just too good. Like, Evil Genius is doing a really good job with ball control and pressure. I just don't know if that'll work against Cloud9. I think Torment will be able to clear it out a little bit too easily. And we haven't seen EG in a week, but they have looked really good. They look better than G2 when they played them, but they couldn't pull out the victory because of that own goal from Chrome. I would say a lot of it, not all of it, but I think they're still probably top 4 team, but it's, you know, it's going to be some growing pains when you start playing the best teams in the world. I'm going to give this Cloud9 3-1. This Cloud9 is really good. Next up, we got G2 versus Rogue. Rogue still hasn't really shown me anything that I can say, like, wow, like this is a team that should be at the World Championships. G2 has shown it sometimes, and sometimes they haven't. They're like 1 for 2 in showing me that they're like a top 3 team still. But I think they kind of beat up on the bad teams here, and I think Rogue will go down pretty easily. I'm going to go with 3-1 as well here. No 3-0s yet, but we'll see going forward. Next up, we got CLG versus Ghost Gaming. Again, I just have to wait and see if CLG actually shows up. But this could be the game that decides who makes it into the top 6. If CLG beats Out of Style, then this is it. Whoever wins this game is it, pretty much. Let me check win percentages actually really quick. I know both are like not great, but let me see. All right, let me go to Wikipedia here. All right. But yeah, so sure, CLG will still have some games to play, but Ghost will be done. Their season is done at the end of this game, so they have to win this, most likely, to stay alive. Right now, they are 7-16 Ghost Gaming, and if they're playing earlier, which they are not. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh yeah, they only have 1 game left. I keep forgetting that. Yeah, so they only have 1 game left. So at best, they go 10-16. Right now, CLG is 4-9, and with their if they win earlier, that actually puts them in a really good spot because they'll be what, like 7-10 ish. So much better win rate than Ghost, but they still have more games to play where they could go 0-3. But if Ghost wins this, CLG will have to do a major upset later on in the final week in order to make it. They probably will win tiebreaks just because if they do get that win, it'll bump up their win percentage. But big game here basically means everything. So this one should be fun to watch, but I still think Ghost is the better team. Again, I haven't seen anything from CLG to counter that argument, so I'm going to go a 3-1 for Ghost. And Ghost, I think, will be that top 6 team. I don't see CLG making it. And again, Out of Style, I think Out of Style is going to beat CLG. So at that point, if Out of Style beats CLG, CLG beats Ghost. Ghost is still alive, technically. I'll have to check again win percentages here. Out of Style is 3-12. So if they get the win, we'll say it was like what, a 3-1, like I'm saying, that'd be 6-13 versus a 7-16. And then if Ghost loses again, like Ghost win percentage wise is not great, so they would most likely be out of it. So it's almost a must win just because their win percentage is so bad. It depends if Out of Style gets swept and stuff like that later on. But continuing forward, so that'll be for bottom 6. Basically, it's going to be decided possibly this week for the most part. So we'll see. We'll see going into it. But next up, Rogue versus Evil Geniuses. This is a very 4-5 matchup right now that we'll probably see again to see who makes it to the World Championship. Like, this is that game that in the long run is not actually going to matter because they're going to just rematch in 2 weeks, most likely. If Rogue beats EG, though, that, like, guarantees them safety from the bottom, from 6th. And no one wants to be 6th because no one wants to be playing up against one of the big 3. And if everything goes right where EG loses earlier, Rogue would want to play EG again, win or lose probably, but if they beat them, then hell, that's even better for them. So we'll see how that goes. I think EG is the better team, though. And I think actually by a decent margin. We're having all 3-1s or 1-3s. I just think just slightly all these teams are better than the other teams. But I expect this to be a rematch to make it to the World Championships where EG will probably beat them again. But who knows? Because Jacob can do some scary things. Same with Insult, too. So who knows? We'll see what happens. But next up, we got Cloud9 versus G2. The match of the day, obviously. We all know. This is the match of the day. Cloud9's speed could kill G2, but G2 did, like, the last time Cloud9 lost to a North American team was all the way back last season during League play, and that was to G2. Also, at the World Championships, G2 could have definitely beaten Cloud9. It seems like they have them figured out just slightly. We'll see if that continues here, but it looks like Cloud9 is definitely the stronger team right now. It just depends. Like, we haven't seen JNaps pop off yet. That's one thing I think everyone is waiting for. JNaps really hasn't done a lot. They're having Rizzo move up in the offense, but that's also dwindling down JNaps' opportunities, and it's tough. Like, it's tough balance, because I want Rizzo up there, but you still want JNaps to be able to do his thing. So, maybe if Crow sits back a little bit further, JNaps and Rizzo can be more forward and get more creative things going. It's tough. It's very tough for G2, but they just have to be careful about being too cute on the passes. It's always been one of their problems, and I think Cloud9's speed will just kind of kill them. We'll see, though. Like, this will be the first test on defense for Cloud9, and we haven't really seen them tested yet. So this could be a upset victory, but I am going Cloud9. I'm going another 3-1 here. Again, it's pretty simple facts. Cloud9 is just a better team right now. We haven't seen G2 play consistently. I didn't say the other word yet. I kind of said it there, but you know what I mean. We haven't seen them play top form time and time and time again, but they do get Rogue earlier, but Cloud9 also gets a game earlier. It's weird, though. Cloud9 gets the second game and then the sixth. It's a really large gap. That's like the largest gap I think we have throughout the entire season, so they have a really long break. But if Cloud9 wins this basically locks up Energy and Cloud9 as your top two. This might actually lock it up completely based on win percentages and stuff. Like, I'm trying to think. If G2 wins, all right, so if Cloud9 beats EG, then EG falls to 2 losses, and they would be, to say it's a 3-1, that would be 12-9. I guess they would still be alive. Barely, but not by much. Actually, no, they would have, yeah, do they have 2 games here? They do have 2 games there. Then there would be 15-10. Yeah, I think Energy might clinch here, depending on what Cloud9 does. Like, Energy is going to be big fans of Cloud9 throughout today. If Cloud9 goes 2-0 and certain results happen, we could have our top 2 for North America completely locked up after this. So that should be interesting because of just the win percentages. G2 might not be able to catch up to Energy. Possibly, though, because, like, if they go 0-6, it might not be completely locked, but pretty close. So we'll see how that goes. I'll be looking forward to that throughout the day and let you know if Energy or Cloud9 locks anything up. Cloud9, on the other hand, they can definitely lock it up because they have a really good win percentage right now. They're 9-1. So if they continue to be extremely strong, then they can definitely lock up a World Championship bid without even going into the last week. Which, honestly, I don't want exactly. I want Cloud9 and Energy, that match, to matter a lot. It'll still matter for #1 seed, and it'll be fun to watch, but it won't matter as much. So, we'll see. But I'm kind of rooting that maybe it gets mixed up just a little bit just to keep that match interesting for next week. Next up, we move down to Europe. Let me erase. All right, we got Complexity versus Excel. And Excel just... like, I think it's over for them. They have to win. They have to win here. I'm actually going to bring up the Europe standings as well. Just because we're slowly getting into playoff scenario time. It's always fun. So Excel right now, they are 1-4. They got 2 matches, I would say. But they're 7-13. They're actually... their win percentage is not terrible. The problem is no one else is really that bad either. The team that they can try and catch would probably be Flipside or even PSG. PSG is 2-3. They actually have a worse win percentage than Flipside. Like, Flipside's at 10-10 right now, while PSG's at 10-13. So it's possible that Excel could catch them, but obviously they need one more win here, so it's gonna be tough, obviously. But, like, they're still alive, but they need a win. They need a win today, at least one win to stay alive, and most likely it'd be this Envy game to try and creep ahead of them, and hopefully Envy just loses out. Possible, because Europe's really tough. But anyway, going back to the Complexity Envy game, I just, you know, I don't see it. Like, Complexity is too good, and they're playing more of a controlled game when they need to. Like, against the worst teams, they're kind of just like, we're going to play it safe, not do anything too crazy. Mets and Mogs know how to play defense, and a lot's even getting back on defense now. So they're trying to be a little bit more careful when they're playing these lower teams, and I expect that to be a pretty easy win here. I'll give Excel, actually, I'm going to go 3-0 here. I was going to give Excel a game, but they just don't seem in form, and their defense should fall apart versus Complexity. especially with all those highlight plays like the double taps. Mets and Mog should have a field day. A lot could probably get some deflections, and like Excel's the worst team in Europe for a reason. So I'm gonna give it to Complexity here. Next up, sorry, bump the mic, is Flipside versus Galeforce. I believe this was, this is a rematch of the regional championships last season that knocked Flipside out of going to the world championships. And honestly, this isn't going to be pretty, probably. Depends how Flipside's playing. Mystic will have to pop off. The problem is, like, with Mystic, sometimes he just is kind of lost due to position, and I feel like he still kind of struggles with that. But when he pops off, he can score on anyone. So that's like, they need that, but they also need Yukio to do exactly what he did last week. He looked like the best player on Flipside, in my opinion, last week. And then Cook's here. If he's scoring those goals, more power to him. They have a chance. But their defense has been slacking. Just bad rebound after bad rebound. And if there's any team that forces out the last defender on purpose, it seems like Galeforce does that time and time and time again. So I think Galeforce will come out with a big win here. I'm going to go another 3-0. It'll be a quick day so far for Europe. And Galeforce will continue to power through everyone. Next up, we got Envy versus Excel. Okay, this is the game. This is the one that matters the most probably in Europe for this week. If Envy wins this, you can basically wrap it up. Like, Excel will be done. That's if they lost to Complexity. Even if they beat Complexity, if Envy wins this, they are most likely done as well, depending on win ratios and stuff like that. But any Fnatic fans out there, you are rooting for Excel here. You want to keep Envy down as long as possible. Actually, I'm not even sure if you're rooting for them. Yeah, probably. Because Envy might be able to pick up a win somewhere else. But Fnatic's going to have to do a lot of work too, so who knows. But anyway, this match will probably determine who goes to promotion and who doesn't. Like, I think if Envy loses, they still have a chance to bounce back because they still have more games left. But if Excel loses, obviously they are down in the bottom of the ranks. So I think Envy is a better team. Envy looked pretty good. They're doing a really good controlled ball play right now. It seems like all three are getting involved, which I love to see. Devo's getting involved, Remco, and iIgnite. And iIgnite shooting like crazy, which I love to see. I still think, like, week one, he shot like crazy. Plus, he's scoring, but I think he's getting maybe a little bit too much credit for what's going on the team. He's still some, like, positional errors and stuff like that. But he's still playing pretty well for his first season in the RLCS, and I think it'll continue here. And again, Excel's defense is just like, they just give wide open nets all the time. So Envy comes out with the victor. Excel is in the bottom two. That is what I expect to see. Next up, Vitality versus Flipside. Vitality looks pretty good. All three players are clicking right now. I think this is one of those games, if I wanted to go wild, I would go Flipside here, but I'm not going to do it. Vitality just looks too strong. And Flipside, so if they play like they played in their final series last week, they have a chance. And this could be that upset game, but I just can't see it. I can't see it. Vitality's looking too good. Freaky's looking too good. We were all talking about, what, me and Shogun at least, like, is Vitality just waiting for Scrub Kill? Because everyone's talking about, like, where will Scrub Kill go? And it seemed very apparent that, like, it could be Vitality. They could just be like, all right, Freaky, we're going to play with you this season, and then possibly go there. But now Freaky's stepping it up. And he's a main reason why they're playing so well. I'll still say Fairy's playing a little bit better for MVP voting, but he's playing extremely well, and I expect them to continue their strong performance here versus Flipside and basically lock up a top two with that win-ish. Not completely, but after this week, basically lock it up because they're playing Fnatic. So we're going to go 3-1 Vitality. Next up, we got Galeforce versus Envy. So this is why Envy has to win that game earlier, because they're playing Galeforce next. And no one's beating Galeforce. 3-0. I'm giving it a 3-0. I think Galeforce is just way too strong. Way too strong right now. We'll see if the defense can hold up from Envy. But I feel like it's going to come down to where Devo's just pinned inside his net. And he's like, oh, crap, I can't even get out. And eventually Galeforce will just suffocate them. Since Envy's also trying to play that like ball control game, they're not going to do it as well against Galeforce. And if that happens, I think things can crumble really quickly. And Galeforce should come out easily with the victory. They're just looking too good. Too good. Next up, Vitality versus Fnatic. And honestly, after last week, I don't think you can ever predict Fnatic to win a series again, unless they're playing Excel, maybe. It was ugly. and I expect the same here. They have to change a lot of stuff, and they need this win to stay alive. Say they lose this game, they go to 1-4, enter in the final week. They, of course, could win 2 in the final week, but it's just they have to just spark something soon. I'm not even sure who they're playing in the final week. But I think they have actually decent matchups. They have, like, Excel and someone. They've... okay, so they have Envy and PSG. So they can at least, like, if they play Envy well, because Envy still has Vitality as well. So that's why the Envy game is so important. And then it could come down to Fnatic versus Envy for that last spot. But if Envy wins and Fnatic keeps losing so badly, that game might not even matter because Fnatic can only tie them and win percentage will go to Envy because Envy is actually pretty decent right now. They're at 46% and Fnatic's at 26%. So we'll see how that goes. But this is a must-win for Fnatic, and that's not going to happen. I'm sorry. 3-0 here. Vitality should easily mop up Fnatic. Just the way they have no offensive creativity whatsoever right now. They are just completely lost on that side of the field. A lot of times, like, Sicky is just stuck in net. Then he'll try and come out and be creative, and then there's just no passing going on. It's like Snazzy was playing really poor last week. I felt like all his clears were rough. He's the only one that scored, but it's still, it just wasn't pretty. I didn't like their decision-making. It just seemed like everything was not working. Maestro, completely quiet last week. I don't want to put as much blame on him. I still feel like Maestro is one of those players that could really step up on a different team maybe. But for this season, at least on this team, it's not working as well. I might be giving him too much credit, but that's where I sit right now. So that'll do it for the week. Oh, you guys can't see the last pick. Hold on, let me back it up. Boom, there we go. There's the last pick. And basically, that'll set up Vitality versus Galeforce in the final week. Probably not playing for much, depending. Complexity, I have them going 1-0 this week, so they come into the last week playing some really important games against PSG and Galeforce. So that Galeforce game, Complexity Galeforce, could be a top 2 game, depending on if Galeforce beats Vitality or not. We don't know. Because Vitality could win that game, and then Complexity could beat Galeforce. The problem is, right now Complexity is already 11-5, while Galeforce is 9-2. So it depends on how many losses both these teams get. But again, tiebreakers are win percentage first. So it should be a lot of fun going into the final week. And also on the NA side, we'll quickly go over it. But we have G2 as an extremely easy week for the final week of the season. So they should be fine. They should probably get that number 3 spot if they lose these other games. But if they beat Cloud9, then they're in a great position to finish top 2. It'll come down to win percentage, and Cloud9 has such a good one right now that G2 might have to 6-0 this week, and that's if Cloud9 can still beat the likes of NRG, which they might lose to, so who knows. But Cloud9 NRG is supposed to be the last game. I think this might be flex scheduling, though, so these games might change depending on playoff scenarios, but we might see like Cloud9 versus NRG first or something like that, so we'll see how that goes. But then NRG, they have a really tough schedule, EG and Cloud9, but they might have already clinched at this point, or pretty close to clinch, so they might not have to worry as much about their games. So we'll see how that goes for them. And then we still got Rogue versus Out of Style. Like, Rogue is still in danger right now. If they lose both of their games, then Rogue would fall to, let's see, just want to get the things right here. So Rogue would fall to 2-4, and their win percentage would drop. It wouldn't be incredibly bad, but if Out of Style beats CLG, and then they play up against Rogue, Rogue is not safe yet. They are not safe yet, because if Ghost wins, and they beat CLG, and Out of Style beats CLG, then Rogue, this is a must-win at that point. We'll see based on win percentage, but if Out of Style gets a win, they're going to be bumped up a little bit, but Out of Style will probably have to beat them handily, depending again on what Rogue does throughout this week. So that game could mean a top 6 spot. Rogue is not safe just yet, so keep that in mind. And also, no one wants to finish 6th. No one wants to play one of those big 3. Everyone expects EG to be 4th, but who knows. But you want to finish 4th or 5th to have a better shot, probably, at making it. So it should be fun to watch. And then, of course, there's still OCE going on. Watch that. I think their regional championships is a LAN again. I'm not positive, but so that should be fun to watch when that comes up. But then we follow after week 5. We go directly into a regional championship week, and then we have a week off, then promotion. So just keeps going, man. Keeps going. We got lots of good Rocket League to go, and I'm really excited to watch it. I hope you are too. And we'll be talking playoff scenarios on the desk when they matter. Probably not too much this week. We'll have a couple, but I will have a playoff scenario video about teams and where they can finish. I think so far this season could be relatively easy, which I might be jinxing myself. So that'll do it for me, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is a longer video than expected, but I hope you guys enjoy it. Enjoy the games on Saturday and Sunday. Use my emote like crazy. Just have me yelling at James all day, all right? And that'll do it for me. We'll see you next time. Later.